Ladies and gentlemen, it is your man out of Japan, Jay Contra, and I recently ordered some items from Surugaya, and I'm not going to do a box opening because none of them are really super interesting, except for maybe how I now own 4 copies of the Famicom disc version of Link's Adventure, Zelda 2. 2 that actually work. It's a long story. I might talk about it in another video. But I guess I'll just go through everything that I purchased. And I want to answer the question, is Surugaya scamming foreigners? This has been a big topic of discussion in the Retro Game Aficionado Discord, a link to which I will post in the description below. But I want to answer that question. Is Surugaya overcharging on the Surugaya.com versus the Surugaya.jp? So what I picked up was actually 3 separate copies. One of these boxes was just for 2 copies of Link's Adventure. It's pretty crazy, but here's the complete in-box copy that I picked up. I also got a 3DS charger because I have a complete in-box 3DS that for some reason I lost the charger or something, so I need to replace that. I've got this beautiful green, I think it was originally came with Tokimeki for the Sega Saturn. This is a memory cartridge so that you can save your games without having to worry about the battery going dead on your Saturn. I also got Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, 3D Dot Game Heroes because for some reason I really want to collect PS3 games. Also Puppeteer, which was recommended by Metal Jesus video and is significantly cheaper in the Japanese. And then also some strategy guides. The first of which is for Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem, the official Nintendo strategy guide that came out in Japan, as well as the strategy guide for Genealogy of the Holy War, which actually looks really beautiful, nice and big size. Actually, I think Nintendo is rumored to be sitting on a remake for the Switch of this, so I think it'll be very funny if I do this video and then next week we see the announcement in the direct for a Fire Emblem remake. This one is really interesting because they actually sent me the wrong strategy guide. I had intended to order the Fire Emblem, the first Fire Emblem official strategy guide. It's really cool because it was actually, a lot of the official strategy guides were made by Ape, which I believe ended up going on to make Pokemon. But for a while they were doing publishing or strategy guide writing for Nintendo. And they did some for the first 2 Fire Emblem games that came out on the Famicom. This is the Fire Emblem Guidance strategy guide, which I actually coincidentally already own, but because of a labeling mishap, Surugaya did send me the wrong item. However, I just sent them some photos of the item, and they said, okay, yes, it was our bad, and we'll refund you. And I'm sure one of these days I will hopefully end up getting the actual strategy guide that I want. But what I found curious, of all of these items that I ordered, was I overcharged? Because the first thing that I should note is that I picked these up as a part of Surugaya's free shipping weekend. Maybe I should walk back a little, just in case anyone, this is the first time that you're checking out a video on this channel. Surugaya is a well-known retro game reseller in Japan. They not only sell Japanese retro games, but they also sell things like toys, cards, just kind of, otaku ephemera, all that kind of stuff. They do also sell new items, but I've only ever bought old stuff from Surugaya. Surugaya is also well known for its online store, which was, I only became aware of it like 5 or 6 years ago, but for a while, Surugaya only had a web store in Japan, and they had it for the longest time. And they only and that was known as Surugaya.jp. It was only very recently, within the last 5 or 6 years, that they created Surugaya.com, which is meant exclusively to ship their items overseas. When Surugaya.com first came out, I thought this was amazing. I thought it was incredible. It was basically the next best thing you could do besides going to Japan. Because at least in the first year or so, when I was going to the website, it appeared, I don't have any evidence to back this up, but it at least felt like the price that you were getting on Surugaya.com matched the price that you were getting at Surugaya JP. So there's essentially no difference between being in Japan, going to a Surugaya store, and finding the item at the same price as you would at Surugaya.com. Actually, you can see that a lot of these come from their warehouse, and I'm not 100% sure on how these are stored or where they're put, but this is exactly the label that you would find at a Surugaya store, basically anywhere in Japan, be it in Fukuoka or Tokyo. So this led me to believe that, at least for a while, you were getting the same price in the Surugaya store as you were on Surugaya.com. A few years ago, I saw something very curious. Surugaya was starting to advertise free shipping weekends. Now, this I thought was really interesting because the shipping from Surugaya, while not, exorbitantly expensive, could end up being about like $30 to $40 for anywhere from like 5 to 10 games based on weight. The interesting thing about Surugaya shipping is, as you can see from these two boxes, no matter what size of an order, or I don't know if you order anything bigger than this, if they send it in a bigger box, but I ordered 2 Famicom discs. So this is a Famicom complete set that has both the manual and the disc in it. Just 2 of just the discs. I ordered 2 discs of Link's Adventure, and they came in this giant box. I don't know why Surugaya does this. Everything else. So I ordered all of this together, this additional disc with the manual, and it all came in just one box. So 2 discs in one box, all of this in one box. I don't quite get it, but whatever. I'd be really curious to know why Surugaya does that. But when they started offering free shipping, I was like, wow, this is actually just being able to go to Japan, buying the retro games that you want, and having them shipped to you for free. Like, that's saving you the plane ticket to go to Japan. But what people started noticing and started commenting in Discord and in other places is that, the prices for some of these games look a little bit higher than usual. And started seeing some comparisons between the price on Surugaya.com and Surugaya.jp. And the other wrinkle that I thought was really interesting was that the window for free shipping started to get even longer. First, it would start at like Friday night and would go until like Monday morning Japan time. Then, and it seems recently that Surugaya's free shipping window is basically like all week except for Friday. To the point where it's almost, there's no point in ordering from Surugaya.com unless you are doing it during one of their free shipping periods. And here is why. Because how Surugaya is paying for this free shipping is by increasing the price of Surugaya.com items versus Surugaya.jp items. I have actually gone through this order. I have compared all of the prices for everything that I ordered from Surugaya.com versus their Surugaya.jp prices, their domestic prices. And there is an across the board, almost to the decimal point, 35% increase on Surugaya.com items. And this is for everything. I think the only exception was this AC adapter here. I don't know why the price difference was so much, but whatever. It was for all of their games, and all of their strategy guides. It was 35% to essentially the 1,000th decimal place when I was doing the rounding. It's like crazy how just everything was marked up 35%. Now, none of this is particularly rare. None of this is really sought after. None of this was expensive on its own. So what I did was, I thought, just to confirm everything, I went and I looked at some of the rare and expensive games that Surugaya had in stock. And for all of those games that I looked at, I think it was like Streets of Rage 3, Metal Slug, and it was still 35%. And I can tell you, it does not cost something like, I think with Metal Slug, it was like at least a few $100 difference in the price. If not, those games get pretty expensive. I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers with me right now. But it is a substantial difference, up to, $1,000 in the price difference, simply because they're upcharging 35% for that export copy of Metal Slug. And I can tell you that's not that expensive to ship a copy of Metal Slug, no matter where in the world. So even if they're doing free shipping, they're making a lot of money on their rare games. What is interesting to me, though, is that a little while back, I ordered a couple of strategy guides. I think it was like a couple Fire Emblem strategy guides and a Pokemon strategy guide from Surugaya. And because they were sent via ETS, via the post office solution to ship items worldwide, they basically made like $3 off of that order, because the order was something like $60 and the cost of shipping to Surugaya on a free shipping weekend was something like $55. So they made barely nothing on that order. And I would suspect that with the 2 Famicom disc games that are ordered, I think they cost like $20 total, because it was about $10 each. I have to wonder if they even lost money on shipping, because even doing the free shipping, I was getting both of these orders in about 2 or 3 days via DHL. So I don't know how they're making their money on these smaller items, and I would suspect that they're actually using the free shipping weekends as a loss leader, because they're expecting to make money on the rare games. They're expecting to make money on, the copy of Contra Hardcore that they're trying to sell, or the Neo Geo games that they're selling, which, although big, chunky, and heavy compared to these other lighter items, are certainly nowhere near making up for their inflated price on Surugaya.com. So, in the end, what I have to say is I have to revise what I have said all of this time about Surugaya.com. For years, I was saying this is your go-to solution to ordering Japanese retro games. It's better than eBay because you can at least, in certain ways, because even though you're not seeing the quality of the individual item or the condition of the individual item that you may want to buy, at least for the cheaper stuff, it's going to be in at least decent enough condition, and it's going to be so cheap that unless you're a stickler, it's not really going to matter. Just go with Surugaya. It's the cheapest option. It's the one that makes the most sense. I now have to revise it, my overall opinion of Surugaya, to be: do not order rare games from Surugaya unless you can't find it anywhere else. Look at eBay, look at Mandarake even. Mandarake is now competitive, because if Surugaya is going to be doing a blanket 35% upcharge on rare games, it means that even places like Mandarake, which if you've never heard of them before, offer some of the highest prices on retro games, because they are really strict in terms of condition. So if you can find a medium condition game at Mandarake, it will very often be cheaper to order through Mandarake, who have always been known as the most expensive place to buy retro games. No longer is the case, simply because of Surugaya's 35% increase on all of their games. So, unfortunately, Surugaya, I think, has lost its crown as the #1 best place to buy video games online. Now you've got to look around. You've got to, much like if you were going to Japan, you were going to be looking at a bunch of different stores, comparing prices. Unfortunately, now it's no longer easy to purchase retro games from Japan. Well, at least in terms of just clicks, it is still very easy. All you got to do is add stuff to your cart and pay through PayPal. Make sure that you're using your bank's currency conversion versus PayPal's currency conversion, because you're going to get screwed that way. It's now still easy to just overall buy Japanese retro video games. However, if you want to get them cheap, you're going to have to jump through a bunch of hoops, especially for rare games that are hard to find and are very expensive, because Surugaya is no longer the go-to option. I hope this has been informative for you all. I'm going to just wrap it up here. Again, if you're interested in joining the Japanese Game Aficionado Discord, I will have a link to that below. If you would like to watch some streams, I stream every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/jcontra, where sometimes I'll be featuring even some of these. We'll be playing video games, we'll be reacting to game hunting videos, we'll be talking about all the latest gaming news. I've been your man out of Japan, Jay Contra. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time, and mahalo.